If you haven't seen the previous video in this series, follow the link on your screen or click the link in the description or pinned comment below.
This Marvel intro used to give me goosebumps, but now that it's before every single episode of every single Marvel TV show, I've seen it so much that it no longer gooses my bumps. In fact, it now does the opposite. It's now an immediate mood killer and completely wilts all my skin boners on sight.
Oof, starting this video on a rough note, aren't we? I mean, it's one thing to harp on a company using the same branding for its product, you know, because they're a company and that's how branding works. But it's entirely another to call goosebumps skin boners. I mean, Jesus.
Great, another kid riding a bike to recall a simpler time cliche. Look, if you want to make me relive my childhood, leave the bikes out of it. Just show a kid slouched on a couch with a bag of cheese balls watching Saved by the Bell and Fresh Prince reruns.
This was Jeremy's roundabout way of telling us he's never learned how to ride a bike. So this is a sin for being an able-bodied 40-plus-year-old man and not knowing how to ride a bike.
Ohio!
Hey man, Ohio gave us LeBron, Superman, and the Cincinnati Bengals. On second thought, they gave us the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll just ding the ding.
I bet you're gonna fall down first. No, you will.
Crab walk competitions. Save that for your horror movie auditions, girls.
This is what I mean by Jeremy yells at the screen cliche. He's speaking to the characters in the film as if they can hear him instead of telling us what's wrong with Black Widow. You see, he can't just go to the part of the movie that he has a problem with, which would result in a much shorter video, like how they used to be in 2013, because... What was it, Jeremy?
Yeah, we did one movie. I can't remember what it was. We did one movie that was so terrible. It might have been The Room. It was so terrible. It had so many sins that we just had to go over 10 minutes instead of our usual 6. And it did so well that we were like, hey, maybe we can make longer videos. And now we've put out some that are as long as 20 minutes, and our fans don't seem to care.
They don't seem to care. I'll tell you one thing. Jeremy is really in tune with his audience because they definitely don't care about accurate statements, manipulating scenes, the general quality of the video CinemaSins puts out. But they do care enough to come cry in my comment section, though.
Forest stars.
Yeah, you know what? Those are actually part of the Lamparity family.
Forest stars, Lamparity family. Movie avoids taking sides on the Firefly lightning bug debate that has been splitting this country apart for decades. We won't stand for this kind of fence-sitting. They are called lightning bugs, and we will not bow to those West Coast Firefly elites. Pick a side, Marvel. There is no middle ground.
You really don't want Marvel to pick a side, as it won't be yours because you know where Disney is headquartered? That's right, the greatest state in the Union. Calling this animal a lightning bug doesn't really do much for the stereotype that the southern states aren't as educated. I mean, you're also from the same demographic that calls any carbonated soft drink Coca-Cola, even if it's Sierra Mist. Besides, imagine if they would have named the greatest canceled television show of all time, Lightning Bug. It doesn't really have the same ring now, does it?
Oh, would you grab the ranch dressing for Dad?
Honestly, I'm disappointed in Hidden Valley for not seizing the opportunity for a clear sponsorship here. I mean, Sunny D and Brawny
Oh
jump...
my god, skip!
And we also saw fireflies in the backyard.
I knew it! Gotcha, Marvel! This is Ohio, and that should firmly be lightning bug territory. I knew that coastal bias was hiding in there somewhere, and now that we know how you really are, you are going down! Twitter is going to hear about this tonight.
It's almost like they're not Ohioans and are actually undercover Russians.
You have it?
Yeah.
It's the only copy?
The only one not on fire.
And I will prove that it is a copy I have and that this copy is not on fire by displaying it in front of you, waving it around like a tiny floppy fan so that anyone watching can be assured I have the only copy.
Wait, what? Oh, I get it. CinemaSins is cosplaying as Apple, creating a problem to sell the solution.
I want my song.
Jesus, kid. Can you learn to say please? What I hate most about this moment is that people may think this is how tapes worked. You slide in the tape and it magically plays whatever song you wanted to hear on whatever side. No, children. This is when the fast-forwarding and rewinding began. You had to find your song using something called memory.
I was also alive when tapes were in wide use, and what you said was only true if your song wasn't the first or only one on the tape, meaning this isn't technically wrong, therefore it's not actually a sin.
How is there 12:06 left on the clock in the first quarter of this high school football game? Most high school games only have 12-minute quarters to begin with. And even if they did 15, are you telling me the away team managed to kick 3 field goals in that time? And yes, it could be a touchdown and a safety, or a field goal and 3 safeties, or a touchdown with a missed extra point and a field goal. But my point here is there's no way there should still be 12 minutes on the clock here in the first quarter, and therefore this movie is terrible. Putting your young barefooted child on chalk removal duty.
Well, they are Russian.
Whenever you want to think about S.H.I.E.L.D. being the good guys, remember these moments where they shot bullets at children.
Natasha is literally an enemy spy. I don't care that she's a kid. Need I remind you, even at this age, she is very capable of and willing to kill. Child soldiers are a sad reality, but if one pulls an AK on me, I'm not hesitating, because that's how you get dead.
Hit the accelerator there.
And isn't it swell that her eye contact is indication enough as to which of these many levers is the accelerator?
I know you're from a state that calls the glow of an insect's abdomen lightning, but there are 3 levers here, 2 of which are already in the up position. It doesn't take a physics degree to figure out the one that's in the down position is the one that's the accelerator.
Also, are we suggesting that this tiny plane made it from Ohio to Cuba without refueling?
According to this website, turbo-propeller aircraft are able to comfortably fly nonstop for about 1,500 miles. And guess how far Cuba is from Ohio?
Please, I beg you, no more undercover work.
And why would they in the first place? How much sense does it make to have a fucking super soldier and send him to play nerd dress-up and do paper-pushing spycraft for 3 years?
I mean, that's kind of the point the Red Guardian makes himself. I don't know why you agree with things these movies say and then treat them as problems with those films.
Also, we're already 15 minutes into this thing, and you're going to mid-movie credits us like some sort of Law & Order episode? You're better than this, Marvel.
Right? How dare they do this in Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame, Age of Ultron, Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy,
Also cubed, this goes on for over 3 minutes, and exposition's you so hard you'll probably still be feeling it when you try and sit down to watch The Eternals.
I think it's a little bit too on the nose when you point out you're only making this video to capitalize on the Eternals release. I mean, that's my job.
The year is 1995, and Tom's Shoes was founded in 2006. Give the girl some Doc Martens.
An actual CinemaSin. I would remove a sin here, and I probably should, but I won't because A, I'm an asshole who doesn't follow his rules consistently for jokes like these, and B, because you still have morons that come to my channel to state that my audience and I are the idiots for taking you seriously, even though you actually point out factual errors like these. I mean, they haven't heard you state this yourself, so I guess I'll play this for them.
There are copyright issues. YouTube's system is not the U.S. law. We're fair use. We're using the content in a way that's part parody, part critique, part review, part critique, part review, part critique, part review.
So there you have it, fanboys. Jeremy says their actual critique and review with his own mouth. Now go cry in the corner while I do my fucking job.
Did no one teach her public restroom manners? You don't fling water everywhere and then leave it all over the place so the next person gets it on the front of their goddamn shirt as they lean over to wash their hands.
Jeremy has never been to a public restroom. It's not exactly a sin, but it's funny. Therefore, it's a sin.
Note of advice to future combatants. If you have a magic dust that will wake your opposition to the fact that they don't want to kill you, studies have shown that using it before they deal you a death blow will result in a higher rate of survival. Like, maybe you have that shit out and ready to go before they even get to you.
Yes, but this person had no idea they'd get into a fist fight with an assassin. A person trained to kill you from afar. In other words, Jeremy suggests you bring dust to a gunfight.
Budapest?
Yeah, Budapest.
No, it's Budapest.
Black Widow would be a Buddha and a pest at CinemaSins.
I get that this is a play on your would-be excellent at CinemaSins gag, but doesn't her being a pest subvert that idea, considering the gag means something you agree with? I know I sound pedantic, but this means you've wasted our time with this, and you know how we feel about that shit around here.
Religion broke off the encounter with my pet python.
Look, I think Moonraker is actually an underrated Bond movie, but if you know it well enough to do a quote along, I'm still sending you.
There are 2 things I hate. People that hate on other people for liking something they don't, and people that liked Venom.
The director said, in this scene, you realize the gas cans are empty, and you move one to the car. And because I realize this is truly boring, I'm going to feature your ass as much as possible.
So you're removing a sin, right? Right?
I guess we can hope that Marvel is getting their same versus same boss battle out of the way early on, but maybe I get the feeling I shouldn't be so optimistic.
I was so close to having an aneurysm just now, but the Birdman is a professional and I never let y'all see me sweat. Your same versus same argument is actual bullshit this time. And it's always been bullshit, but this time it's especially bullshit. This is Taskmaster. Not really. The one thing they kind of sort of got right about this character is that she is a mimic. The entire point of this character is to copy the fighting style of the person she's fighting and use their abilities against them. Complaining about same versus same when Taskmaster is involved is like being mad at movie shows Superman picking up heavy things.
They have a sword in their backpack? Why not start with that?
Because Cap's shield is orders of magnitude more versatile than a sword?
Neither of these two should fear each other, considering neither has their fingers on the trigger.
It's called trigger discipline, something that doesn't prevent a skilled gunman from putting their target on their ass. Besides, as we've just learned with the Alec Baldwin situation, you can't be too careful around prop guns, and trigger discipline is a must.
Despite the audience knowing there will be no consequences to this fight, the sibling rivalry's on for some time.
Jeremy thinks we watch martial arts movies for the overall consequences instead of for the fights themselves.
If you didn't think I'd come here, why'd you send me this?
You brought it back here?
Right? How dare she return with the item you sent in the mail with no instructions other than a photograph? I'm so shocked at the confusion.
You're not understanding the context. Black Widow, the blonde one, believed Black Widow, the redhead, was still with the Avengers. Remember, this movie is set directly after the events of Civil War, and it wasn't public knowledge that the Avengers had broken up at the time she sent the gas. Her assumption was that the Avengers would know what to do.
It's a synthetic gas, the counteragent to chemical subjugation. The gas immunizes the brain's neural pathways from external manipulation.
Maybe in English next time?
Is the movie suggesting that brilliant Black Widow didn't follow that explanation? Or is it pandering to an audience who might not have...
Wait, what was that?
That brilliant Black Widow didn't follow that explanation? Or is it...
One more time.
Follow that explanation?
Explanation?
Follow that explanation? Explanation? Explanation?
Explanation. Explanation.
And you check the body, confirm the kill.
Why would a trained killer confirm a kill when there's a storyline that needs a hook?
Probably because she blew up a building her target was in? You mean to tell me you're going to run into a burning building to confirm you blew someone up? The real sin is Yelena asking this question.
Do you believe me now?
But you didn't even hear that conversation.
Classic CinemaSins, completely misunderstanding the scene. When she said, "Do you believe me now?" it was in reference to her telling Natasha the Red Room still exists. The fact that they have widows chasing them is why she says this, numbnuts, not that she heard a conversation.
Seriously, who is controlling Discount Snake Eye's motivational dial?
I am offended right now. I can't decide if it's for you calling Taskmaster Discount Snake Eyes or Disney making that joke make sense. Well, until I create a series called Everything Wrong with Disney, you get the sin this time.
This thing that you do when you whip your hair when you're fighting with the arm and the hair.
And I mean, they're great poses, but it does look like you think everyone's looking at you.
This is almost funny enough to take a sin off, except that Yelena is making a great point here about superhero posing that is clearly about the audience's pleasure and not the hero's fighting strategy. So, with all this being excellent at CinemaSins going on, we still have to add the sin.
And I'm going to add two here. One for sinning something you like and another for misspelling Yelena.
Trying to be more than just a trained killer.
She loudly states in front of the store attendant while purchasing ibuprofen for her suspicious bruising.
You're aware they're in Hungary, right? I have no doubt some Hungarians speak a bit of English, but they're clearly in an agrestic area where a world-famous Avenger elicits this non-reaction. I'm gonna go out on a limb and suggest this was all gibberish to this dude.
You destroyed my birth certificate, so I reinvented it. My parents still live in Ohio.
This, along with all the fantasy information you're about to spout, would not be on a birth certificate. You are not reinventing your birth certificate, you are reinventing what's called backstory as an attempt to garner empathy from the audience. It's like you don't even know you're in a movie.
This is what happens when you take things out of context. You stopped her monologue after she presented two different ideas. She was saying she redid her birth certificate and created a backstory. What you did is like taking the words out of context out of the first sentence of this sin. See how removing those words makes it seem like I'm calling you a thief? Context.
Now, I've never been to prison, or been well-versed in the symbolism of prison tattoos, so I'm going to make the assumption that the tattoo artist's star phase was so popular that everyone wanted to have one or more placed on their person. That or the makeup department printed too many nautical stars and didn't give a
This is what happens when you pretend to know what you're talking about for 8 years and begin sniffing your own farts because you've duped millions of people into following you. These stars represent the incredible eye for detail Marvel has when creating their movies. In Russian prisons, these stars denote the hierarchy within the prison.
I said we needed a jet.
Give him credit. He somehow managed to find an aircraft that withstands an incredible amount of damage in the following scene, so he clearly had time to do something spectacular. As I watch this helicopter hover in place, I just have to say, good thing you didn't get that jet you asked for, huh? How exactly was that supposed to work?
Jeremy has never heard of VTOL jets. In a series where Quinjets exist. In a movie where the guy gets her a Quinjet at the end.
Let me pause for a second and talk about a dream I have. I dream of a day when a movie will stop the momentum of an action scene involving a rope hanging from a helicopter and force the audience to watch its stars slowly climb the rope, hand over hand, till they get to safety. It will be grueling and boring, and most people will walk out of the theater or turn off the televisions.
And let me stop you right there, because you have just explained why they don't do that.
Red Guardian's costume survives this.
This is funny. I mean, I am laughing. But your fans got mad at me when I, in my Far From Home parody video that you should totally watch if you haven't already, made nearly this exact joke. In fact, I'll play it for you.
I had just finished my fruit cobbler, right?
This sofa survives this.
Also, these controls have the major body systems with a slider bar to decrease percentages, and I have questions. Primarily, how do you decrease skeletal system? If you slide that bar down, does the pig stop having a skeleton? Do the bones turn to dust? If you then slide it back, do they reform? What the f*** are you testing with a skeletal system?
I see someone didn't pass high school anatomy. The skeletal system, in addition to supporting the body and protecting organs, is responsible for the creation of blood cells and partially regulating the endocrine system. Bones, just like every other part of your body, are alive.
And why'd you save this?
Why does a mouse born in a cage run on that little wheel?
For exercise. But I don't see how that's relevant.
First of all, mice and hamsters run on the wheel because they can't escape their enclosure. Usually. Anyway, the point is that the work is never done, hence the hamster wheel analogy. You know, because no matter how much a hamster runs on the wheel, they never get anywhere.
They think.
One thing I'll never understand about the comedic one dart followed by a bunch of darts trope is why there's always one idiot who shoots first and then the others wait a few seconds for full comedic effect. If you can aim this well, you can be on the same page about timing.
The trope is actually the people shooting the darts don't yet realize the person can tank them, therefore they shoot more until they work. These are things I feel like I would have to explain to children, Jeremy. Come on.
Here's a curious moment when Natasha, wearing Melina's face, stands before Taskmaster, who can scan body readings and somehow misses that this is Black Widow.
First of all, we don't know to what extent that ability works. And second, there is no reason for Taskmaster to suspect this person isn't who they appear to be, especially since she can see Melina with her own eyes. Think about it for a second. The first time you watched this movie, did literally anyone suspect this was Natasha wearing Rachel Weisz's face? No, you absolutely did not, moron getting ready to type in the comment section. You didn't know Fury wasn't dead in Winter Soldier either. Shut the fuck up and stop lying.
How come she gets to keep her hair down when everyone else is in braids?
The women in this scene have various hairstyles, Jeremy, like this woman wearing a bob at the beginning of the scene. Hell, in the scene grab you're using, there is a woman near your arrow wearing a fro.
I need you to know that I'm sorry. I pledged my life to a cause.
Installing cross-contaminate cell speakers for easy prisoner-to-prisoner communication.
Probably because this isn't a prison cell? When's the last time you saw a prison cell with blinds?
Say hello
to my little girl!
I appreciate you sending this bastardization of Taskmaster, even if it was for a lame joke. But you didn't send them ruining the gorgeous face of Olga Kurilenko to do it, so this is one of those you didn't say God bless you when I sneezed moments. As you can see, my hands are tied.
Mom.
Natasha knows she can't attack this asshole and risks a lot by playing into the ruse that she's clueless. But why? He could shoot her now. What confidence does she have that her delay is going to pay off? Sure, she wants to goad him into revealing more of his plan, but even if he didn't show off his database, wouldn't the women still be free if she killed Dreykov?
Holy gish gallop, Batman. Natasha isn't playing into the ruse. She's actually testing her inability to attack Dreykov. Once she realizes that she actually can't, the goal is to get Dreykov to break her nose.
Using the only natural resource that the world has too much of.
Mosquitoes? Please say mosquitoes.
Jeremy thinks mosquitoes are resources.
So, as long as we can smell him, we won't be able to hurt him.
Which makes you wonder why Natasha didn't stand very far away from Dreykov and then shoot him.
Because Dreykov is in a small room, and as Melina explains in this scene,
Natasha, to block receptors in olfactory center, you have to sever the nerve.
Okay, sure, fine, whatever. But any reason you couldn't do that with a scalpel right now instead of chancing it with the oh-so-reliable break my nose in just the right place in the midst of the moment stratagem?
Because that would have ruined the face-off plan that allowed them to access the Red Room and would have resulted in Taskmaster killing her.
Oh, hi there, random parachute. Thanks for being so convenient. Also, how did she know it was a parachute to begin with? What if this was a regular-ass everyday backpack?
Someone would wake up in a pool of water with a soul stone?
Ugh, that was disgusting.